I spit Patron on this microphone. Watch out, I'm in the zone, worth for everything I own. Life is March Madness, one mistake, then you go. Yeah, I had a stroke, but your boy still rhyming. And Fresh got love, but the squad still wildin'. Catch me in any city in the hood, we grindin'.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros are comments made by Anthony Joshua. In an interview with Sky Sports, Anthony Joshua said that he has 5 years left in this sport, which basically means he'd be retiring in 2026. So this is an article from Boxing News 24, but the quote they take is from an interview with Sky Sports. And here it says, Joshua coming towards the end. Then this is the quote from Anthony Joshua. This isn't the start of my career. I'm coming towards the end of my career, Joshua said to Sky Sports News. I'm always planning ahead, so I'm coming towards the end of my career. And then he went on to say, 5 years left, and that's basically an Olympic cycle, said Joshua. I've got an Olympic cycle and a little bit more left. So when you see the next Olympics happen is when I'll be coming to the end of my career. Those are comments made by Anthony Joshua. So I'm going to throw this one to Ned first. Ned, what's your thoughts on Anthony Joshua saying that he has basically 5 years left before he retires?
That's what's up, man. I like to see when athletes plan their retirement. You know, like you see it. You hear a couple guys. You see it. A couple guys say by 30, I'm done with the sport. When they turn 30, they actually give up the sport. They retire. They go do something else. And I'm proud for AJ planning ahead. You know, it's smart. It's a smart move in his book. You know, some guys just stay in it. They try to milk the sport to get every last cent, every last dollar they can. Like you have what? You got guys fighting in their 40s like Povetkin, Ortiz, Pulev, all these guys who are in their old age that couldn't retire early. And it has boxing, is detrimental to your mental health. So I'm shout out to AJ for planning ahead. I'm trying to it's doing the right thing. So
all right, Dollar Bill.
I think it's dope. AJ feels like, after he becomes undisputed, and he's an Olympian and, he made so much money. He feels like he accomplished what he accomplished in the sport in them time frame. I don't want him to think about retirement, because when you're thinking about retirement, that's when one of these young fighters come retire you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that he has a plan. He knows what he's focused on. He wants to retire with all his faculties and be able to enjoy his money and his brain and his body. That was another thing which we was talking about before in the conversation with Kaden alluded to on the previous episode. We was talking about fighters getting there when the time is right for them to fight. Another thing is too, wanted to add, I come in from the side of loving the sport of boxing and also appreciating and having love for the fighters. This is prize fighting. And too many times, you know what I'm saying, I have witnessed my favorite fighters that I grew up watching die broke or can't have a conversation and is broke. So I applaud AJ, you know what I'm saying, for wanting to leave the sport with his faculties and be able to spend some good time with his family. Because that's what I be alluding to. I be wanting these fights to wait so that these kids could be well compensated for the damage that they're going to take when they step in this ring. Because that's all. That's where I'm coming from. So shout out to AJ for having a plan. You know what I'm saying? For at least having a plan. I think that's dope. For life after boxing.
All right, the Spirit G.
You know what? I agree with Trill. I agree with Ned also. I'll take it a step further. I believe AJ's clearly the ambassador of the sport, right? He's the face of the heavyweight division. He's articulate. He's well dressed, well mannered. He's a gentleman. So to me, he could do so much more even after his career. Right, he could be the new Lennox Lewis. He could be a commentator. He could be a sports analyst. He could do all of that stuff. And not to mention too. Honestly, I think 5 years might be even too long. you know, because to be honest with you, he's accomplished so much. I think he only has like probably 3 fights that I want to see personally. Tyson Fury for undisputed. Alexander Usyk to compete undisputed versus undisputed cruiserweight, and then Deontay Wilder, the old rivalry, right? After that, it's like he's done everything else. So it's like he could sail off in like probably 2 years, maybe 3 years, you know. So even 5 years might even be too long. But hey, if he wants to keep getting some more M's, go for it, right? But like when you think about it, dude still got everything. You know, I think what's the worst he's got his whole career? Probably like a slightly broken nose. You know what I mean? Like, so the dude, he still got his endorsement, still signed with Hugo Boss. Yo, the dude's like, he's good, you know. So 5 years, I don't know, man. I don't even see him doing 5 years. Like, I could see him staying for another like 3, and then he could actually like disappear and still make a living and a full career for himself. So, yeah, man. Salute to AJ, man. It's just before you go, please, man. I just need to see you against Wilder. Just give us that. That's all I need to see. I don't care. Even if you said Usyk, forget
The
Usyk.
wild debt will always come out.
It ain't even that. You know what it is?
Come out.
I gotta understand. Me and Kate have been debating this for so long that if it doesn't happen, it's just weird. Like, to me, I feel like the AJ versus Wilder is what built this show, because we used to go at it about those two guys. You know what I mean? So then he was just like, "Yo, man, we really going in." You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, I'm like looking up dumb stuff. I used to be complex. I'm gonna be honest. Then I realized, like, yo, you know what you doing the most when your arguments don't make sense, though, boy. But you're like, yo, don't matter, around with my dude. That was me back in the days. Now I'm a little more seasoned in it. I'm like, all right, it ain't that serious. I just still want to see the fight because, you know, like, why not? You know, even if Wilder's half the man he was prior to the Fury fight, I still want to see that fight. Even if AJ wins, at least I could be like, yo, you know what? I could close the book. You know what I mean? Saying like, hey, my man lost, but at least he got in the ring and he fought it out and lost. So I just need to see that. So I just need 3 fights from AJ: Fury, Usyk, and Wilder. And then you can fade away. No hate from me. It's all love, AJ.
All right, since it's on me, I'll respond to what G said. I'm content with Anthony Joshua never fighting Wilder. I knew that Wilder would get undressed as soon as he fought a real heavyweight. I told G that. And the beauty of the way this situation happened was it was a bit of calmer because Joshua lost first to Andy Ruiz, and G in Complex won Bearable. Like, they were like, these dudes were on top of the world. Their chest was poked out. Wilder was
the Ryan Garcia celebration.
Yeah.
When he jumped in the
Well, it wasn't that serious.
I'm messing with you, G. I'm messing with you.
It was definitely they didn't jump on each other.
He didn't jump in his arms.
They were definitely excited like that when Joshua lost. And like, you could just see it. Like, even if you go back to the old episodes, they just sat there. They were just like smug and like extremely confident that Deontay Wilder could beat Anthony Joshua based off of what Andy Ruiz did. And we would always tell them, like, yo, Andy Ruiz's skill set is completely different from Wilder. Just because Wilder did it doesn't mean that, just because Ruiz did it doesn't mean Wilder could do it. And these dudes were just like living in a cloud. So at that particular point in time, they were convinced that because Ruiz beat Joshua, that Wilder could beat Joshua, and Wilder no longer needed to fight AJ. According to these guys.
Not me. I still wanted to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, honestly, I needed to see that fight for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, if Wilder knocks out AJ, yo, my record's clean. I'm starting all over. I told y'all, it's the right hand of God that's going to give me the cleanest Boxing Bros record. You know what I mean? It's 1-0.
And where's that right hand gotten you? Like, look, this is what I'm saying. Again, so he fights Fury, he gets exposed. And I knew it. I told G, it is what it's, especially after he didn't win. Because even Trill was like, the first fight, because he thought, the weight loss, The inactivity, the quality of opposition that Fury got in the ring with on the comeback wouldn't be enough to prepare him for Wilder. So he felt like eventually Wilder would catch Fury and then knock him out, which almost happened, but Fury got back up. Going into the rematch, even Trill was like, yo, it's over for Wilder. Like, yo, I'm like, bro, it's done. It's Massacre City. I picked Fury to win the first fight, which I think he did. But the second fight, I'm like, it's Massacre City. And that's exactly what it was. So, like, for me, I don't need to see Joshua fight Deontay Wilder. If it happens, I'm cool with it too. I'm okay with it. But for me, it's not like a must see. Like, yo, Joshua, to solidify your legacy, you must beat Deontay Wilder. No, you must beat Tyson Fury. That's the guy you must beat. Because, see, Wilder made a bad gamble, made a bad bet, something I've been saying for the longest time, and now he needs to make that right. And he doesn't seem interested in making that right. So if Deontay Wilder never fights Fury in the trilogy to make it right and regain his strap, why should Joshua automatically be like, you know what, Wilder, let me give you a shot now that you have nothing. When you had something and I offered you 120 million, you told me to go F myself. But still, now that you have nothing, let me offer you something. Only a fool would do that. I wouldn't do it because you gave, still to this day, you gave Deontay Wilder the greatest offer he's ever had, and he rejected you. So why would you give him a second chance? That's just the way I look at it. But hey, you know what? If the people want it, make it happen. But in response to Anthony Joshua saying he's going to retire in 5 years, I think what you're noticing is a lot of great fighters are retiring at a younger age now. You look at Andre Ward. He retired when he was regarded the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. He felt like he accomplished what he needed to accomplish, and you see he's going into the Boxing Hall of Fame. So he was very intelligent and strategic with his career, and now he calls fights, and that's a pretty good job. So he's set and he manages fighters. He has Shakur Stevenson. You see Floyd Money Mayweather, Mayweather Promotions. You see Mayweather managing fighters. You see Mayweather could have still fought. Mayweather can still fight to this day. Mayweather can still come out of retirement and make a fight with Pacquiao and still be one of the biggest fights in the sport, a fight with anyone. But Mayweather said, hey, I don't need to fight. I've done all I need to do in this sport. I've already solidified my status as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now I can just make money doing other things and enjoy my life. And so now you have Anthony Joshua, who's looking at, he's 31 now, I believe. So he's looking at like 36 as the age where he's going to retire, or he wants to retire and he wants to live his life, enjoy his life and do other things. It can be commentary, it could be managing, it could be promotion, it could be a number of things. It could even be training, whatever he wants to do. He'd be accomplished. And if he becomes undisputed, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. What more do you want from the guy? So we all want early retirement at the end of the day, right? He's worked hard. He's dedicated his life to the sport. He's been disciplined. I don't think a lot of people understand the type of discipline that goes into a fight camp to be ready for a fight. A lot of wear and tear on the body. People don't understand that. So if he is in a position where he can retire at 36, kudos to him. A lot of fighters don't have that option. Some people still need to fight for financial reasons. You look at, say, G brought up Povetkin, Pulev. These guys probably look at financially what their life's going to be like when they're retired. Because you look at it, you retire, say Pulev or Povetkin, they retire in like their 40s, early 40s, right? And they no longer make money off of boxing, but they still have a life to live. And they still need to have enough money to maintain a lifestyle. And there's a lot of athletes who don't think that way. So when they have an influx of money, they do all the spending as if they're always going to make that money. And that's how they go broke. So maybe their financial goals for Povetkin, for Pulev, and they don't make as much money as AJ, so they can't retire at 36 the way AJ could. But kudos to him. Whatever he chooses to do, I'm sure him and his team will make the right decision. I'm with Trill. I usually don't like when fighters talk about retirement, but in this day and age, I don't question his hunger. I don't question his motives. I actually think these fighters are thinking more strategically. I even heard Tyson Fury talk about retirement, and I actually think that's a great thing because you can't take the trauma and the punishment for years and years and years if you want to live a healthy life after boxing.
I totally agree with you, brother.
And AJ could be the next David Haye. He could be a promoter. You know what I'm saying? AJ got options, like AJ doesn't have to get in the ring and get beat up all day. So,
Yeah, he paid the cost to be the boss.
Exactly.
Please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel in the comment section, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Also, please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
We could have been flawless, flying up to make people's mouths drop jawless. How can 2 years be erased in 1 August? And you know I have my pride, so I had to get brolic. All in all, I can't call it. Just know you're my queen. Wish I was denim, cause then I be in your jeans. Can't fight fate, and you've been loving me since your teens. But when you can't move forward, you gotta wipe your slate clean.